All right, once you guys have all 4 feet attached, then you're going to want to clean them up, space them out evenly, and make sure that they're sitting in the right position for your pot to sit upright and be level. So if this was the table, you're going to get down eye level with it, making sure that the rim is even and the feet are even. So if you need to kind of push your pot one way or the other to even out your feet, you can do that. And then when you're working on it and you're flipping it over, you can take a little bit of water. Because remember, you can wiggle these back and forth and you can reposition. So if you don't have a gap in between that's about finger width, you guys can use a paintbrush in here. But all I'm doing is just taking a little bit of water. I'm completely smoothing it out so I don't have any dents or cracks or crevices. So I'm finger burnishing it. So I'm rubbing over the surface, condensing that clay, completely smoothing it out. We burnish the sides of our tiles with a spoon, but you guys can also finger burnish. So I'm going to try to get up a little bit closer here so you guys can see it. And I'm just finger burnishing, smoothing it out. Okay. Yes, it does take time, and you guys need to put time into doing that before we start applying our texture. Once you apply texture, you can't fix large dents and pieces in the clay. Make sure you guys are using a flat metal scraper over the surface to smooth it out along with finger burnishing. So right now I'm just working up the side as well. And in the Perfecting the Pinch Pot video, you guys saw how to use that flat metal scraper. I've already completed that step. I'm just re-smoothing out anything else that I need to do on here. The last thing that we're going to do is add texture. So we don't want this super leather hard. We want it somewhere in between plastic and leather hard, because as you're blow drying these feet to keep them in place, the sides may dry up a little bit. We're going to be applying texture and pressing it into the feet as well as the walls. So you want to make sure that this is smooth before you guys start. So I have a texture cart of random tools. They're not actually tools, it's just random objects to press into the clay. The reason why we're working with texture is because we're going to learn how to stain a clear glaze. Stain is almost like watercolor. It's mason stain mixed with water. It's a powdered pigment. And when we paint it over the surface, it falls into the cracks and crevices. We take a sponge and wipe the top surface. So everything that is below the initial flat area is going to be darker, and everything above is going to be lighter. So it makes our texture show up a little bit more. We want to cover 95% of the surface. So I'm not trying to do a line of dots. I'm not trying to make a specific design. I am covering the surface with texture so you guys can experience how stain and clear glaze work. So if I know I want to press these beads into it, I know that's not going to cover all my surface. So I'm going to use this first, and I'm going to put my hand on the inside, because if I just start pressing into my pinch pot, it's going to make it cave in. I'm going to use less pressure on the feet, and I can still reposition because I didn't let it get super leather hard. And I'm just going to do one section of this so you guys will be able to see it. Okay, so we are going to bring our texture right over our feet. And then I'm going to see what these look like. You guys can always use clay from the yellow bucket to press textures into to see if you like it before you add it to your pinch pot. So I'm going to pull that up. Yep, it created some depth. I like that. I'm going to add some to the feet too. Very carefully. I'm always applying counter pressure. So I always have my thumb on the other side, otherwise it'll end up breaking. Now everything is curved on here, so I'm not going to put a straight line. So we're using organic forms when you guys are shaping this. So it's those free-flowing, natural-looking lines. Some of you guys might do geometric designs where you have straight lines, sharp corners. Okay, now, once I press this in, look what happened to my pinch pot. That is okay. So once I have texture pressed in, I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to smooth it out just by taking my thumb, smoothing out my areas here, finger burnishing with my thumb, maybe add a little bit of water and go back and forth. So after you work with your texture, you're going to need to reform your pot. So we're going to cover the outside surface. For those of you who are finishing early, or you have some experience with clay, or you just really like to add a lid, there's going to be another video on how to attach. Form a lid. Make sure that you don't let this part, the rim, get too leather hard if you do want to attach a lid to it.